Hi, you guys. I'm Matt Rogers. I'm a client. What's up? Wasn't that good? Hey. I see some of my people. So you'll never guess why they're held up because Bowen Yang is doing social upstairs. So he needs to get rounded booze when he comes down for holding everything up. I'm just kidding. You guys are all in a sensory dropped-in place because of the film. You're in a tender, thoughtful place. And I came in with my Matt Rogers energy. I understand. I probably should go over here, right? Because they're going to come over.
You would be such a good mom.
So would you.
Doesn't matter if it's Lee or me, because we don't have the money.
His visa runs out in a few months and he doesn't want to go back to Korea.
My grandmother doesn't know I'm gay.
You come out, they cut you off.
I have a proposal. You marry me, and I'll pay for Liz to grow a baby.
What?
Me?
Dan's grandmother flew in from Korea to meet her future granddaughter-in-law.
What are we supposed to do exactly?
We gotta de-queer the house. You.
What?
You look gay.
Have you picked the wedding date?
We don't want a ceremony.
No ceremony?
Okay, everyone, please welcome co-writer and director Andrew Ahn. And get out here, Lily Gladstone. Woo! Everyone give it up for Kelly Marie Tran. Woo! Honky Chan. And social media superstar Bowen Yang, everybody. Is this on for me? All right, great. How are we sounding? Okay, so we've
Great.
just seen the film. Everyone's dropped in a very tender and soft place. Did you guys enjoy it? Okay, perfect. Hello, director.
Hi.
I know a thing or two about how great you are to work with, and one of the things that I found was a parallel between Fire Island, your last film, and this film is the beautiful sense of community that you have amongst your ensemble cast. I think the compliment that most jumps out to me is I feel like I could walk in that house and I would know where everything is. So I really just want to know, when it comes to place and family, just talk about like what you achieved in this movie and how you did that amongst this ensemble in this place, because the house is also a character in the film.
Yeah, I think I wanted people to watch this film and at the end, feel like they were a part of this family, and I wanted this feeling of inclusion. I wanted this feeling of welcoming, and I think that was a tall order. You just have so many people, and we worked with our casting director, Jenny Ju, who's incredible. She was the casting director for Bong Joon-ho's films Okja and Snowpiercer, and we just talked, of course, about each character and the core of who they are, but then also talked about the kind of environment that we wanted to create and find open-hearted, generous people that really would understand this process. It was just kind of this wonderful alchemy and hard work to like put together this immense cast. Oh no, are you okay? This is the last time that we're all gonna be together.
Oh, really?
We just realized that a little bit ago, and so
I
we're having
know.
an experience with that.
But yeah, like I think like there was just such an intimacy already, and I wanted to foster that and create a supportive atmosphere, from like the cast and crew, just like no assholes, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you can do that, then you create a space where people can be vulnerable and create bonds, that are on screen but also off screen. And so there, for me, like in many ways, like the greatest joy of this film was that I got to introduce all these people together, and they got to have this wonderful summer in Vancouver, and it's just a bonus that we got to make a great film.
Yeah, there really is so much love that jumps off the screen. And Lily, I want to ask you, like, one of my favorite moments in this film, I asked Bowen, and it turned out it was like a spontaneous moment on set, but I wanted to ask you specifically about this scene where you spray Bowen with water and just how that speaks to Andrew's spontaneity as a director and his style of directing. If you could speak to what you experienced through that.
I mean, I of course had the impulse to want to do it myself anyway, but out of respect for wardrobe, for one, Bowen for two.
Love it.
I was like, I know this is a fun open set to do so, but I'm gonna withhold it. And then of course Andrew on the last take is like, can you just like, oh yeah, I got you. And it was total surprise, authentic reaction.
But that scene is, I think, narratively important, just in terms of seeing these four people who live in this house gesturally give life to things. Like Chris is filling the bird feeder, I'm filling the bird feeder, Lee is gardening, and I think maybe on a different day you have Angela tending to the worms in the lab, and then you have Min stitching together these beautiful pieces for his art. Like, these are four people who you want to see raise a child by the end of the film. And just to speak to Andrew's answer earlier, I feel like he's so in tune with his departments, with Charlotte Royer, our production designer, with Matthew Simonelli, costume designer, Kijun Kim, our DP. Like, all of that was so crafted to that intimacy, to just, I love that compliment, Matt, that like you can tell what the layout of the house is, because by the end of it, you love that image of Angela warming up the bottles in the kitchen, and you can just kind of extrapolate what the rest of that day is going to be, because the day is breaking and they have the rest of the day to just raise these two babies.
I feel like one of the best compliments you can get as an actor is if you're being specific. Like, my favorite note from people is like, that was a very specific performance, or your specificity was wonderful. That's what that felt like. So thank you.
Well, for me, it was this idea of, I remember talking to all our department heads and saying, like, I want this to feel like there's a baby missing, that if a baby was here, it would just click all into place. And there was something about that choice of like spraying Chris that, like, to me, like, talks to this like whimsy and play that like a child would love,
Totally. And I love that it establishes, where it's not in the text so much, a real relationship that Lee and Chris have, the two characters that share one thing in common. And that history is known, it's accepted, it's there's not weirdness around it. And that's also the kind of, like, I guess, emotional maturity and like family bond that you'd want to see a child raised in.
Yeah, I want to jump off that specific word, acceptance, because that is one of the strong themes of this movie. And there's acceptance, and there's also being seen. Kelly Marie, you and Bowen have that scene. It's played for laughs in the movie where you grab each other's face, and it's, I see you, and tearfully, and then it leads to y'all fucking. But I was thinking about the film again today. I saw it last night at the premiere. It played so beautifully, and everyone loved it so much. But I feel like your character has the most individual relationships, and one of the themes that runs through all of them is how she's being accepted and seen by those people. Like, for example, with your mother, it took her so much time, and she filters her acceptance in the way that she sees you through like a sort of narcissism that she works out. And it feels like every character that you interact with is seeing and accepting you on their terms almost first. And I just wanted to know how you felt in playing those different relationships and how you filtered them.
Wow, great question.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're good at this. You should keep doing this. Very good at this. Yeah, I think so many of those relationships were already so well defined in the script that Andrew and James so generously gifted to us as actors to play with. And then on top of that, when you have this ensemble cast and this incredible culmination of so much talent and also so much generosity, and every single person, as you can probably tell by watching the film, everyone was so open and so vulnerable and ready to play and ready to be silly and not afraid to fail. And the experience of making the movie was, I hope, the feeling you got from watching it, which is a warm hug. And that comes from, Andrew cultivating this environment for all of us on set. And I truly, really believe that all I had to do was show up to work on time and respond to all the gifts that I was constantly being given by this incredible ensemble.
You guys really are incredible all together. Just Han, to speak to you, I think one of my favorite moments in the entire film is at the end when you're receiving Bowen's big declaration. This is a huge moment in any rom-com, which is the receiving of the statement of love. And you have this beautiful, just euphoric moment of accepting that and accepting that proposal. And I want to know, in preparing for something like that, because you really do bring so much authentic joy and authenticity, period, to the screen. But did you watch other romantic comedies and study different declarations of love and acceptances of love to prepare for that? Or what did get you there where you were able to be so emotional and real and raw?
Oh, I would say just seeing those rom-coms would not make this scene perfectly. I would say being I don't know the word. Okay. Just seeing this scene on set and feeling what Bowen has given to me and all those history my character had in that last that moment will be for me as a man. It was kind of a gift for me that I finally get what I really wanted to achieve. Was I just became screaming out loud, not only for just a character, but also for me as a person, as me, Han-gi Chan. I just wanted to scream this out. I just wanted to say yes, because this was the whole thing I was wanting in this whole entire script. And Andrew luckily catch that, I guess, and to make it into this wonderful scene. Not so well, I've seen a lot of rom-coms, I guess, but this is not the reason we got this on screen.
I hear you. Well, you've definitely created an installment in one of the great moments of receiving love. I mean, it's so euphoric, I think you can all agree. And my girl over there who feels so far away.
I know.
We're usually tactile.
We're tactile.
But
this feels like a Zoom call.
It's interesting to get to know you from this distance.
I know. Interesting.
But, just obviously you're so well known for being one of the great sketch performers. And then in Fire Island, you played this character that, I don't think I'm revealing too much. We've talked about it so much, but it's so close to you.
Mm-hmm.
So in this character, I think for me, at least, as someone who knows you very well, I actually didn't see a lot of you in it. I feel like you as Bowen would make different decisions here and have different reactions. And so in playing this sort of larger role where you maybe felt dissimilar to the character, how did you get into, and what was that experience like of disagreeing or maybe being a little bit divorced from this point of view and these decisions? Because I think a lot of people who watch this movie are going to be like, just marry him, you know what I mean? And keeping that line and making that make sense for you and for the audience. Can you just talk about walking that?
Yeah, I feel like there was this inversion to compare it to my Fire Island character. Just even on a performance level, it's like he did not really drive a lot of the comedy in that movie, and he was this softy, just wanted love, just wanted some kind of connection, and in the end he gets it. I feel like there's a flip with Chris where he is sardonic and dry and very detached and very individualized in the way that he likes this arrangement of living with his 3 best friends, one of them being his boyfriend, but I feel like he also likes that remove, and yeah, very unlike me. And I think I was probably just, I don't know, like living in living in my own like isolation for a bit while I was in Vancouver. Like I liked that version of myself where I was just like going on hikes by myself. I was birding a lot, and I feel like there were just so many qualitative things about Chris that were just textual that I was just able to follow off of Andrew and James's script, where I was thinking about how people are needed in life, how you need people and how people need you. And Chris doesn't really feel like he's in this arrangement between this IVF treatment that Angela and Lee are trying to sort of go through, and for Min to sort of fulfill this like marriage plot. Like I feel like Chris kind of finds himself iced out, but that is a self ice in a way. You know what I mean? Like he detaches in a way that is inadvertent, and I feel like I just had to sit with that. And it wasn't that I wasn't social. I feel like I was very social with everybody, but I felt a little bit more unmoored in that way that I think was helpful for Chris. I feel like he was a friend that I made that I'm like, I am just here to like not judge you, and I would never do things the way you have, but yeah, there you are.
I think it helps a little that, you know, Chris, I think I talked to Bowen a lot about this, where I was like, Chris is my boyfriend. And like Bowen has met my boyfriend. My boyfriend came to Fire Island, and like everybody was wearing like shorts and like tank tops, and he was wearing like a full hoodie and like jeans, and then just like drank a beer like by the dock, like not wanting to like get his feet in the sand. And I just think there was something like, you know, just that I think you understood who the character represented for me, and there was a kind of plug in that way.
He, I think I've realized Matt and I talked about Enneagrams yesterday on the podcast. He's an Enneagram 4. He's
like you.
He's like me in that but he's an Enneagram 4 wing 5 and not a wing 3 like me. This is granular, but super interesting.
Did you see how I came in here as such a 7? I want to ask one question of you, Lily, which is in exploring IVF, I feel like it's one of those things that so many people still don't understand, and especially, you know, men my age, even gay men my age, who talk a lot more intimately with women than maybe straight men do. I feel like as we get a little bit older, suddenly it becomes this topic, and it becomes this thing that we realize that so many women really struggle with. So I just wanted to, because it is so much of the conflict that your character is experiencing, I wanted to ask about your preparation and your experience with that in the script, because it is such a painful thing, but it's such an important thing, and it's such a milestone for so many women. So if you could speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, it was the one element of the script, as I had my antenna out for something that was a rom-com, that was an ensemble piece that was lighter than my previous work. That was the one beat that I was like, can I go there? Do I want to go there? I very much, if I believe in anything, I don't believe in much, you know. I'm inspired by a lot, but I hold a firm belief in the power of storytelling, and the animate nature of it, and the somatic relationship you form with your audience, even if you never meet them. I know that when you inhabit a character, when you're moved by a character, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you feel it in your body. And because it's such a specific personal relationship a woman has with her own body, it was something that I was hesitant to jump into. I think because it does have this also very somatic effect over the arc of the whole story of hope. And I'm a big believer in metaphysical will, so I believe that these children found this family, and they came when they wanted, they came how they wanted, they came through who they wanted to who they wanted. These kids, this family chose each other, and these kids chose this family. I feel like when you are getting in those, getting too specific feels invasive. So I have a lot of close friends. My own mom struggled with fertility before having me. I'm an only child. And I think that was maybe I always believe the film gods do talk to you, because I do believe in how powerful story is. And if the story is good, needs to be told, will offer some, I guess, good medicine to its audience. It will speak to you almost supernaturally. And for me, I think the clearest marker of it, because I didn't want to get too invasive or sit down with anybody close to me that's like, so what was IVF like for you? You know, what was the shame like? What's it like being like in your late 30s? What was, you know, because society does that to us. I mean, I'm a woman in my late 30s who doesn't have a child, and it's loaded, whether you want one or not, whether you're actively trying to have one or not. And then particularly for Angela and Lee making this choice, like Andrew said, when you have to be so intentional about it as a queer person, every hesitation is amplified. And it's like, particularly when this kind of, honestly, we don't understand enough about women's health, it's not funded, this arbitrary to a degree clock starts ticking. It's there's just a lot of pressure on that. So the gift from the stars, I guess, that told me this was the story to go on that journey with, because it had this healing, hopeful tone to it, because it's so personal to my mom. This is silly, I've said it a few times, maybe people know it, but my mom, she was pregnant with a son before she had me. I mean, she carried him to term long enough that knew he was a boy and knew his name was going to be August, and he decided not to manifest. So she was heartbroken about that. You know, she still carries him. And because he didn't decide to make an appearance in our family, I did. I was the rainbow baby that came after him. The timing wouldn't have worked out. My parents only wanted one, so if he were here, I wouldn't be. And I grew up knowing that. I grew up having this sense of who he was. There was always this kind of protective older brother presence that loomed over specifically this shoulder. I always felt him here, like a little ball of light with me. I would talk about him to my mom. As I got older and as I started developing a personality, he took on whatever projection of self maybe, or maybe something that was authentic to him. But then Mom and I, you know, full-ass grown adult in my early 30s, we're sitting there watching SNL. And she sees Bowen and she goes, "That's my son. That's him."
And I joked that I was probably dressed as Kim Jong-un or something. That's him.
That's my
that
baby boy. So I told this to Andrew in confidence. But I didn't say off the record, so it was fair game. I should have known better. He told Bowen, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. That's a lot to load onto somebody that you don't know. But
and then Bowen told everyone, including me. I remember it.
It was so, well, you know.
It's beautiful.
What I might have not shared in this story is that in my metaphysical, existential sort of, you know, wrinkle, it's like I would not have been born in China had my parents stayed in China because of the one child only policy. I'm the younger of two. So there was just some kind of fateful thing where, like, I don't know, like that is entwined with that for sure. Like I heard that and I was so touched, and that's why I told in confidence I told Matt.
Always on the record.
Incredible. Like Lily Gladstone's my sister.
It's out now.
So I have one final question, and I want to go down the line with it, starting with you, Andrew, because it speaks to something which I believe is like a beautiful theme in your work, and like this, I don't know if you'd call it a metonym or whatever, but the Polaroids and the photos of the chosen family. I noticed them in Fire Island, obviously, because they were on the set, and then watching the film last night, I think that is so much of what makes that house a true home. Is the moments where you see someone looking at all of the history. So my question to each one of you is, if you have one Polaroid picture in your mind of this movie, what is that Polaroid picture and how does it make you feel? Starting with you, Andrew.
I mean, I know. I remember the morning of the first day of filming the Korean wedding sequence, and I had gotten there early, and I was like helping like set up the Korean like altar table, and I just was like very like stressed and focused, and then it was time for our first rehearsal, and the cast came walking down the stairs like they do in the film, and they were all wearing their hanboks and the Korean traditional costume, and I lost it. Like I just started weeping, and I realized that I saw my brother get married a decade earlier, and he went through a traditional Korean wedding, and I saw how that ceremony brought him closer to his wife. It brought him closer to my parents. It brought him closer to his Korean cultural identity. And as a gay man, I wondered if I could have that, like, I was like, who piggybacks who, and so I wrote this film, to kind of throw myself in my own Korean wedding. And it was coming alive, and to see all these beautiful people helping me celebrate this was like so overwhelming. And like my parents were there, and I couldn't I couldn't help but feel like we were creating culture so that we could shift culture, so that this tradition could include queer people. And I will never forget this image of them, and I'm so thankful.
That's lovely. Lily?
We actually took Polaroids, so I can just describe my favorite one. There's a little like sideline of the story that didn't end up. I don't think we ended up needing it in the cut with just what we created. But there's a moment in the argument where let's take the money and do something else. That scene where we talked about Angela's line that didn't make it in the film, and my response to it was what was it? Maybe it's not time for a baby. Let's just get another cat. And then me, how dare you? I'm still mourning JoJo. And there's a Polaroid of the two of us sitting there with this very grumpy, shaggy, old 16-year-old cat. Who was not
She's
JoJo. 20.
She was 20. Sweet pea.
No,
Sweet
pea.
She did not want to be in this film.
No.
She was very angry with us.
Yeah, her mom was in the production design, and we could hear her coming in her crate just and she sat still for one shot. And then we're like, okay, take her. Ow, 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 take her. But yeah, I love that Polaroid. It's I think something about sharing a fur baby with your partner does prepare you for wanting to experience parenthood together. Other than that, just maybe all of us sitting on the front steps. Just literal answer.
Kelly Marie?
I think my Polaroid is not something you would see in the film, but something that we did in between takes. Towards the end of shooting that entire last week, we were all in the house, and the four of us, our waiting area was just what would you call it, like a little side house?
It's a carriage house.
Yeah, like a little carriage house. And the four of us, Bowen introduced us to couples therapy. And we
want to do that.
Oh my God, we
Matt
love
introduced it to me.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Yeah.
We love Dr. Orna.
Aw, your granddaddy couples therapy.
But I actually have this picture on my phone, and it's a selfie of the four of us after we had popped popcorn in the microwave of the carriage house, and we all these little bowls, and we're eating popcorn, and we're like watching couples therapy, and it's just such a beautiful, beautiful time. We're never going to get that back. I remember obviously loving being on set and loving doing the scenes, but then also as soon as you would say cut, we'd be like, couples therapy is on. So that's my Polaroid.
I love it. Han?
Actually, this is the Polaroid I was about to talk about because I know it's okay. I'm definitely agreeing with you because while listening to all of your answers, this movie has such a lot of firsts to me. Everything I could make 1,000 Polaroids for just filming this one film, but I actually agree with Kelly because those beyond those humongous firsts, this is the first time I am being with this English cast, and being with as such a family moment was also watching a couples therapy. But we're not a publicist of couples therapy, but yeah, but that's such a family moment, and also for me, this was such a warm hug, like you said. I'm always thinking of it and coming back to the couples therapy moments. that we were seeing on TV, and also we were seeing our Golden Globe nomination, and and also Kelly's musical and my idol moment. And
Gi-chan was on an idol competition show in Korea where he is dancing and singing. Yes.
We tried to change. I tried to change the channel to Bowen's SNL, and
yeah, we were watching YouTubes of each other.
Yes. It was sweet.
We're going to know more about each other, and finally we ended up watching couples therapy. So yeah, that's that.
Yes. And Is It Cake with Mikey Day.
Oh yeah.
My Polaroid is these photo booth strips that we took, literally. And it was in that gallery space in Vancouver where we shot the student art sort of showcase. It was really rustic, daguerreotype-esque film. But we would take some of the four of us, and then we would take some as couples, and then Bobo, who plays Kendall, is here, would come as well.
Stand up, Bobo. Stand up. Say hi.
And then we took some of Chris and Kendall, me and Bobo, and that relationship is so special because I think it illustrates so many things about this movie, which is that the chosen family ends up becoming fixed family by the end. They're bound by these children in the end, and they become literal family. And then the sort of fixed biological family, quote unquote, ends up becoming chosen by the end of the film too. There's a mutual choice in all these characters, in Angela and May choosing each other finally, and Ja-young and Min choosing each other finally. There's just that beautiful flip that I think is such a nice little line graph in the film that I really love. So that's the Polaroid. That's the photo. Yeah.
Well, those were all beautiful answers, and it's a beautiful movie. Congratulations on such a soulful, gorgeous film. Everyone, please give it up for these guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
할아버지 물론 네 결혼 기다리셔. 니들 다 바보야.
What did she say? She said we're dumb.